And welcome back. Appreciate you guys joining us for another episode. Today we're going to talk about release and different ways to practice, whether you're at the lanes or whether you can't be at the lanes.
That's right. We've done a lot of videos talking about the yo-yo release, about coil to uncoil, cup to uncup, rolling the ball, rolling it off your hand. They all require this hand motion. Even when we were doing the spiraling the football, we did a whole video talking about how you can use other sporting equipment to help you with the release. We're going to take this a step further. We're going to talk to you about how you can practice this release, because it takes repetition over and over and over again, because you need to build muscle memory. That's the only way you're going to really get it down. Not everybody has access to be able to come to the bowling alley and practice 4 times a week. Whether it costs too much, you don't have the time, whatever the situation is. And many of you who maybe bowl 1 league a week, you don't want to spend your time in league working on something and trying to do better, because that can hurt your scores. And let's face it, we all have egos and we want to look good when we're bowling. So best thing to do is to come out and practice on the lanes. 1-step drills, no-step drills, working on that release. That is number one. But what can you do if you don't have access to those things? Before we get into it, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And with that said, let's jump into it.
Let's jump into this.
All right, so what are we trying to accomplish? All right, so again, this is about going from a cup position to an uncup position, but it's also in a flow, okay? Now, the yo-yo release is all about this. This is a yo-yo. You grab a yo-yo and you do this. Just come down, and you go from this cup position to this uncup position as you take the yo-yo down. That's what this is all about. But this is all in front of you. This isn't part of your swing, and people have a hard time translating this into a bowling swing that comes back here. And honestly, when people come back, I see either people that are cupping their wrist and they're really being strong and muscling it and holding it, and they either hold it the whole way and then they end up coming around and chicken winging, or they come up here, but then they get to here and then they lose it way too early. And what you want to accomplish is holding this position as long as you can and doing it at the very end. And it's all about this at the end. Mostly wrist, some elbow is good. If you can get your elbow in there as well, get a little bit of bent elbow, a little bit of bent wrist, and then uncoiling it all together. So it's about this motion right here, okay? This is the repetition that we're trying to accomplish. So how do we do it? Number one, get yourself a rev trainer, all right? There's a lot of rev trainers that exist out there. We had one for the school that we coached at a while ago. I just bought this bad boy off of J.R. Raymond's site. So what I like about this one is that it's actually cupped and cradles the bowling ball, so it holds the bowling ball in place. Also has casters on the bottom side which allow it to roll, which I will demonstrate here in a minute. But I'm going to start with it in the stationary position, because you may get yourself a rev trainer that doesn't roll on its own. So I'm putting it on a box to raise it up a little bit. You don't have to put it on a box. You just put it in a position that's comfortable for you. And take your rev trainer, grab your ball. Okay, in this case, I'm going to actually set it in the rev trainer, and I'm going to get down into somewhat of a release position. And now, because there's no weight, I can easily do whatever I want to with my wrist. Okay, I know that it's much, much harder once you actually get the ball off the rev trainer to get this position. That's challenging. But what we want is for you to get used to uncoiling at this position and doing that, okay? Now that's obviously very slow. So you can get up there and and that ball is going to hook. But what we're looking for is getting used to really getting that flick motion at the end, and you can work on getting it to spin faster. Get in there and work on that motion. If we slow it down, what you should be seeing is you're here and you start to come up and you're going to release, let your thumb out as your wrist starts to straighten. Thumb's going to come out first, finger second, and you're not lifting up. If you lift up on the ball, you're going to throw the ball right off the rev trainer. It's about it coming here and then coming through with the fingers. So work on that with the rev trainer. If it rolls over the thumb holes or finger holes like I just did there, it's a little forward, okay? If I go straight on, if I come forward, that's forward. I want to get this angle here. So you're going to work on getting your hands cupped under and getting that ball to rotate this way. If you struggle a little bit with seeing it visually, take your ball, come out to this outside here, which is now, as you turn your hand over, it's going to be on this side. This is where your PAP is. You don't have to be exact, just be kind of in the ballpark. Grab yourself a piece of tape. Stick it somewhere approximately on your PAP, and then, if I turn this way now, you should see that piece of tape spinning. And whether it's spinning here, which is 2 forward, or here, which is 2 sideways, you want that thing to be more angled and tilted. This is the spot, and having that ball spin, that's what you're going for. And so you can work on that, and you're gonna work on trying to go faster and harder with it. So you may start out and it might look like this, and that's fine. Get the motion down. Once you've got it, work on making it go faster. That's what we're going for. Let's take that a step further. We got the rev trainer. We bought this particular one that's a rolling rev trainer. What's the point of the rolling rev trainer?
You asked? Just wait.
Glad you asked. All right, so the point of the rolling rev trainer is that it moves so you can actually move your arm, right? If you get the profile view, instead of it just being right here on the stationary rev trainer, you can get the ball to come back and forward. So now you're getting some of your swing into it. Now, granted, you're not coming up because you don't want to lift it up off the rev trainer. That's not going to do any good. You're going to drag it a little more, but it at least gives you that motion going forward. So, going into where you're going, I would suggest you do this to a friend or into something. This is best on a hard surface floor, which we're on. You can do it on a wood floor. Haven't tried it on short carpet. We may try it on short carpet here in a second and see, but get this thing going. Okay, come back. All right, and work on that motion. Okay, we're gonna do that again. Now this isn't just about coming through, it's about actually ripping through it as well, so you still want to see it rotating. So come back. And get that ball moving. That helps you with that rotation. Now, it doesn't roll, it kind of rolls and goes off to the side a little bit and turns, and so the rotation of the ball on the rev trainer, it's slowed down. It doesn't spin super hard while the thing is rolling, but it still helps you practice that motion, which is what we're going for. Now we're on some short carpet. Let's see if this thing actually rolls on short carpet. Somewhat. Now the nice thing about it is it stopped itself, and that's fine. I didn't even have to roll it to a friend in this case, but it still allowed me to come back and come forward. And it allowed me to practice that motion. Perfect for that. So this is a great way to practice this motion if you get a rev trainer like this. This one, like I said, I got with the rolling part of the bottom, I got from J.R. Raymond's site, 10pindoctors.com. I'll put a link to that on there as well. But there's other rev trainers out there you can try that don't roll that will also accomplish this. What if you don't have a rolling rev trainer or a rev trainer at all? What else can you do? I'm glad you asked. All right, so now we've done some videos with footballs and baseballs and small soccer balls and volleyballs and anything you can palm. This really works. Footballs are great because they give you good feedback, but I like a softball because just about anybody can get a softball. You may have one already, or you can get easy access to it. It's a pretty good size. A little bigger would be ideal, but this is pretty good. I don't like using a baseball because it gets to be so small. You end up just using more of your fingers, and I wanted to actually get it a little more into the hand. What you can do with it is, on this one, I put a little piece of green tape on it, which is gonna represent, again, that PAP, that PAP. So I wanna hold the ball, and I'm gonna hold it where the seam is kind of like the finger grips, and I want it so that that PAP is somewhere on this side. Now this is not going to be perfect because it's a small ball, so it's not going to spin perfectly. It's going to wobble a little, but we want to get an idea of how that ball moves. So what we're going for here is we want to see this thing spinning, so we get under here and there we go. And again. Now how are we accomplishing that motion? Again, it is about, in slow motion, this motion is going to be coming down, and I got my wrist cupped into this position, and as I come through, I am relaxing, I'm uncoiling, and then I'm letting go with my thumb. It's gonna roll off my fingers, and I'm not lifting with my fingers, but I'm letting it roll and coming through with the fingers. This motion is the same motion that we're trying to get with the bowling ball, and you can practice this over and over to yourself, okay? I realize you're going up and not out. When you're bowling, you're going out. When you're throwing this ball, you're going up. But it's about this motion, and you may start out and it looks like that, not wobbling a whole lot, okay? If it does that, that's fine. It's a good start. Just work on going faster and then faster. And what can you do to really get that thing spinning fast, okay? Try to get that thing going, and that motion is going to help you. Doing this over and over and over again is going to get you used to making that sort of motion with your hand. I have a softball like this sitting at my job at work, and if I'm reading something, if I'm on a webinar or listening to a webinar, I'll have my headphones on listening to that webinar, and I'll just be sitting there in the office doing this with the ball, working on that hand position and that release. Again, you don't have to use a softball. Use any other kind of ball that you can actually palm on your own, but it's a great way to practice it constantly at home. What about using an actual bowling ball? Okay, so this thing doesn't weigh full amount. The Rev Trainer, you're not lifting the weight, you're setting it on the Rev Trainer. What can you do when you actually have a heavy ball? For that, we're gonna head on to my basement. When you're at home, what are some of the things you can do? Well, you can set up a little thing down in the basement like I've got set up here, where you've got a beanbag, you've got a bunch of pillows, you've got cushions, something where you can either throw the ball into or roll the ball into. And with that, you can take this ball, an actual bowling ball, and you can just practice your release and practice getting that spin. Now, I'm down here, I don't want to do it on a hardwood floor and damage the floor. I'm not going to throw it on cement and damage the bowling ball. In this case, I'm rolling it on some carpet in my basement. It's going to hit the carpet, which is total friction, and the ball is going to stop. You're not going to get the feedback of seeing the ball like you do with a Rev Trainer or other things. But what you can do is throw that ball and just get used to that motion and how it feels to be able to hold and cup and uncup that ball into some sort of cushions. Get your parents' permission or your family, your wife's permission, whoever, before you start rifling a bowling ball into your couch. But there are things that you can do to practice this at home to get that motion down.
So is that going to burn some sort of track into your ball? What if you don't want to use a ball that you like to throw? Can we use an old ball?
Absolutely, as long as that old ball fits. If that old ball fits just like your newer balls, throw that old ball down there. I wouldn't really worry about it burning a track in there, because like I said, the ball's gonna hit and just kind of die off. It's not gonna spin on the carpet, so you're not gonna really damage your bowling ball much. Unless you loft it or throw it from way up here and you throw it on a carpet which is sitting on cement, that impact over time might not be great, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think it's safe. You can also do it outside. Take it outside, throw it onto the ground again. Once it hits the grass and the ground, it's not going to keep spinning on the grass, but you can practice rolling that ball. You're probably going to have to wipe it off, clean it off, so you get some dirt and mud on it.
Your local pro shop guy is going to wonder, how come you have grass stains on your bowling ball? Practicing, it's fine. Hopefully it all helps, like he said. Hopefully all the information that we try not to overload with is beneficial. If you have any questions, if you have any comments or concerns, anything you want to see that we haven't discussed yet, please let us know. Throw it down there in the comments. Thanks, Mockingbird Lanes, for letting us do all this fun stuff here. We appreciate you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Love you guys. Thanks.
See ya.
Okay, bye.